2017 was a shit show. Devastating hurricanes, the deadliest mass shootings on record, Colin Kaepernick still not having a job, the constant inability of men with power to not be rapey, the Trump presidency.
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear.
And Putin! It was an especially tough year for journalism in the United States.
None of this is fake news. We can put away the fake news charge once and for all.
I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you stay categorically?
You are fake news.
He does this constantly, again and again and again and again.
The term fake news surged during the 2016 election and was used to point out the rise of fabricated stories and websites. We're talking about stories like the Pope endorsing Donald Trump or that Donald Trump was born in Pakistan. For the record, he didn't. Definitely wasn't. After his election, President Donald Trump flipped the script. He started using the term fake news to describe mainstream news media like CNN, MSNBC, ABC, the New York Times, the Washington Post. Sure, they get it wrong now and then, and they miss some of the stories we cover here at AJ+, but they follow the basic procedures of journalism. They're not fake news. In 2017, the term fake news pretty much became an unfunny meme thrown at everything anyone disagreed with. Fake news! And while 2016 was called the year of fake news, 2017 has been the year of, well, a crisis of legitimacy for journalism. But was it actually? Hey guys, I'm Sana, this is AJ+, and this Sunday we're going to take a crash course in some of the biggest and most important investigative stories that held the powerful accountable in 2017. So let's start off with the one story you definitely know, Harvey Weinstein. On October 5th, Jodi Kantor and Megan Twohey of the New York Times reported that the Hollywood mega producer had spent decades paying off women who had accused him of sexual misconduct. It was a huge scoop, followed just days after by another investigation by Ronan Farrow for The New Yorker. Farrow's investigation went into detail on the numerous accounts of sexual abuse, both harassment and assault, that Weinstein was accused of. And the investigative work done by these journalists had a huge impact. Weinstein's career came to an end. Then there was the Me Too campaign, very public conversations about sexual harassment and assault, and most significantly, the Weinstein story set off a series of investigations and allegations against other powerful people, many of whom are now jobless. Another incredible investigation that came towards the end of 2017 was the Uncounted. Journalists Azmat Khan and Anand Gopal spent 18 months looking at the civilian cost of the U.S.'s war against ISIS in Iraq. For their investigation, Khan and Gopal went door to door at the sites of 150 airstrikes in northern Iraq. They found that the actual rate of dead civilians since 2014 was 31 times higher than what was officially reported. This from an air campaign that was supposedly, according to the United States, the most precise in history. I spoke to Khan about the New York Times Magazine investigation, asking her why she decided to pursue this story and why it was so important to tell.
We decided to tell this story because we were seeing vast discrepancies between what was actually happening on the ground and claims that were being made about how precise and how accurate this air war actually was. This is a story about accountability and transparency, and it's about this vast gap between what the government says about how that's going and the reality on the ground.
In addition to predators and possible war crimes, the world's rich elites weren't safe either. Remember 2016's Panama Papers investigation about the offshore bank accounts of some of the richest and most powerful people in the world? Well, the International Consortium of Journalists dropped another massive investigation in late 2017, the Paradise Papers. Like its predecessor, the Paradise Papers focused on leaked documents revealing that the offshore financial habits of the rich and powerful maybe weren't all that halal. Why was this investigation such a big deal? Well, it's the fifth massive financial leak of its kind over the course of 4 years. And while the point of offshore finance is essentially to evade accountability, exposing who's hiding money and why forces accountability. In fact, the Panama Papers of 2016 led to several worldwide investigations, high-profile resignations, arrests, and political upheavals. One of 2017's most riveting reads was Ginger Thompson's How the U.S. Triggered a Massacre in Mexico. In 2011, convoys from the Zetas drug cartel rolled into the town of Allende in northern Mexico. The Zetas cartel, believing some of their own members had betrayed them, started gathering their friends and families. They took them to a ranch, killed them, and burned their bodies. The investigation by ProPublica and National Geographic found that at the root of the Allende massacre was the DEA prematurely sharing information about an informant with a notably corrupt Mexican police department. A follow-up investigation by Colegio de Mexico found that the death toll was far from the official count of 28 and instead was closer to 300. When I asked Ginger Thompson why it was important to cover this story, this is what she had to say.
I think the United States sort of looks at what's going on in Mexico as Mexico's problem. In this case, we were able to show very clearly the link between a DEA operation gone wrong and dozens, as many as hundreds of lives, many of them innocent lives, that were lost.
Next is NPR's ongoing investigation into the spread of black lung across coal country. One of President Donald Trump's big campaign promises was to bring back coal jobs to the Appalachian region.
You know, in other countries, they love their coal. Over here, we haven't treated it with the respect it deserves.
But what's usually ignored when it comes to the coal industry is its health cost. According to NPR's ongoing investigation, there are over 2,000 cases of advanced black lung, all diagnosed in 2010. Black lung, by the way, is this awful disease that literally turns your lungs black and essentially kills you slowly by choking you to death over the course of a lot of years. And while it's entirely preventable, the coal industry has repeatedly ignored taking the steps necessary to combat it. Finally on our list is Nicole Hannah-Jones's The Resegregation of Jefferson County. The New York Times Magazine investigation looked at how cities in the South, specifically in Alabama, were resegregating schools through totally legal means. Cities in Jefferson County were creating new school systems that kept and are still keeping black students out. So there you have it, some of the best investigative work done by journalists in the United States in 2017.
Not everyone's going to love what our stories show, but our stories will be fair, they will be accurate, they'll be balanced.
We're already seeing journalists help rebuild that trust, and a large part of that is doing great investigative journalism, and a lot of that is showing your work.
But what will it take for journalists to regain the trust of a citizenry that's just become too skeptical? Hey guys, if you liked that video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And let us know in the comments what were your favorite investigative stories of 2017. Mine, the crazy Washington Post investigation about the woman who was making a false accusation against Roy Moore, and it turned out that she was part of an organization investigating the Washington Post. It was a weird story.